Alright, hello and welcome to my pregnancy series on my channel. My name's Laura Johnson, and if you're new, please make sure you subscribe and like for more videos. This is my first time being pregnant, so if y'all want to, follow my little journey and stuff, make sure y'all subscribe. And we're almost to 1,000, so once we hit 1,000 we'll be able to hit that notification bell, and then y'all will be notified in the future. We just need less than 400 subscribers to join, so make sure you share and have your friends join or subscribe. That way we can all become a better community and y'all will be notified with every video that I post. But I am going to sit down today because I just felt a little good today. I just got done taking like a bunch of pictures for Influencer because I got like a whole bunch of free stuff from them, and I will be doing videos on that. My little sit down videos, I want to do like one a week, and then I'll do vlogs in between, so y'all get more than one video a week, and I can edit these sit down videos and have a whole week to edit them in between editing and filming other vlogs. It just makes it easier for me, and it's so much nicer. And now that YouTube has a scheduling part, I can schedule out videos. That way y'all get a more consistent upload. I'm going to try to do it every other day. So right now I posted Wednesday, skipped Thursday, posted Friday, and then today's Saturday. I'm filming all day and doing a whole bunch of pregnancy videos today, starting from my journey to getting pregnant and my journey during pregnancy, and also some stories like just me pretty much rambling on and what I hope happens during pregnancy, I guess. I don't know. We're just sitting down all day today making a bunch of videos, and I hope y'all enjoy them in the future. And if y'all do, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Today's video is going to be a journey to getting pregnant. Before I found out I was pregnant, me and Josh were actually trying over a whole entire year. It took a couple of years. Like, I would say 4 years. We've been married since we've been married since 2017. We've been together since 2016. It is now 2021, so it's been it's about to be 5 years. So I would say we've tried for 4 years getting pregnant, and it was exhausting. It was getting us frustrated, but it didn't cause any problems in our marriage at all. It was just more frustrating because like during the holidays it just got really sad because everybody else had their kids and was happy to do their first Christmas, second Christmas, third Christmas, and then seeing my nieces and nephews opening their presents. Even though it feels nice that they open my presents to them, I just wish I was giving my own kid their presents, and I just wish that I had my own baby to spoil a lot of the time. And I wish I had like my own like little partner in crime, or just my cute little baby just running around. And even though I like to buy outfits for me, I just think about all the cute outfits that my baby could wear, and it just made me really sad and depressed. And also my hormones were crazy. So we're going to talk about a lot of the doctor stuff and a lot of medical stuff. So if y'all aren't interested in the medical, how I got pregnant or anything like that, just skip this video, I guess. But I would still watch it just because there might be something that you could try. Like if you're trying to have a baby now, I would definitely watch this video and see if you need to go to the doctor, and maybe I give you some information that you can also ask your doctor. I probably went to the OBGYN. No, I probably went to the OBGYN 20 times in 4 years. Because I probably went about 5 times each year. It's 5, 10, 15, 20. And then now up to 30 to 40 appointments. Because I wouldn't say I was high risk or anything. I wouldn't say I had any complications. Obviously, I'm fertile. I did not do IVF. I did not do any kind of special treatment like that. And I'm so glad I didn't. But also, if you do or have to, do not feel like it's something wrong with you or anything. Even though you're not taking a bunch of shots to the abdomen. You're doing a lot of blood tests. So you have to be really good with needles if you want to get pregnant. If you're not good with needles, like, you're doomed, because you're gonna get poked and prodded and pretty much looked into everything when you're trying to get pregnant. Because a lot of people, it's just easy to get pregnant. You do the deed and you're pregnant, and it's like boom, nothing else. It's easy as that. And even though a lot of people make it look easy, and when you're younger and you're more active and stuff, it's going to be a lot easier. Especially if you're one of those who got pregnant before 20, you know, when you got pregnant in high school or whatever, that was probably your prime, you know, pregnancy days. But although I know people who are in their 30s and they are popping out babies like crazy, even though they might be really fertile at the beginning of their pregnancy, sometimes towards the end of their pregnancies, they have more complications, if not more like deadlier complications. So just because your first half of your pregnancy journey is harder than others, sometimes it's easier to know what's exactly wrong with you, and then the doctor knows throughout their pregnancy to make it easier during delivery. But sometimes some people are just, their first half of their pregnancy goes by so smooth that they overlook a lot of stuff, and when they deliver, they end up having a lot more complications because they kind of ignored all of the other signs, or just thought it was just pregnancy stuff. Every pregnancy is different, and everybody has their different stories. I think I went to the OBGYN a lot sooner than a lot of girls, which my mom was more of a, you're in that age, you need to be on birth control. I was on birth control from like all through high school till like 2 or 3 years after high school. So until from 2014, or no, from 2012 I think is when I started getting on birth control, to 2016 when I met my husband. So I was on birth control for about 4 to 5 years. So I stayed on birth control that long, that consistently, and I just stuck with it and went to my OBGYN pretty much once a year, because they do have to check your hormones. They do have to make sure that the pregnancy or birth control pills aren't doing any other side effects, because you can get too much testosterone or too much estrogen or stuff like that. So everything was good, and then I met Josh. I think when I met Josh, we moved, no, the first year, 2016 to 2017, I had pretty regular periods. My wedding day was like the last regular period that I had in forever. So 2017 is when we got married, and the day of our wedding, May 20th, 2017, that was my last regular period. Like, I was having periods once a month up until then. And that was because we were married, I got off birth control, and we were sexually active. That's what happens, because when you're actually sexually active, your periods are going to be irregular, but also if you're stressed out, which was me in 2017, you are going to also be very irregular. So in 2017, later on that fall, we decided that we were going to move to West Texas. We had 2 dogs, packed up everything that we could, but we had to pack up light. We actually left a lot of the stuff that we had at the house. We picked up and went and drove for 8 hours and had a new home pretty much set up for us. So it was nice, but it was just really hectic, and I would never do that again. Especially now that I'm pregnant, I was like, at least we got to do that one little weird spur of the moment thing, to be honest. Like, it was just really crazy. Like, imagine just packing up everything and driving away for 8 hours and just new life. I was stressed out, I was away from home, I was very emotional, my hormones were crazy, and I mean crazy. Like, me and Josh were getting in a lot of fights. They were just fights just me going crazy, pretty much. And Josh was like, you've got to go see somebody. And not that he immediately like blamed me or anything like that. He's really not that kind of person. He just knows when I'm bothered and something's really bothering me, that he's like, babe, like, please, I'm trying my best. And he really did, and I could see it. He was being so nice. He was like kind of just, he understood. He would also call my mom, and my mom would talk to him like, you know, she gets in these little fits if she gets really depressed or really anxious, or, you know, if I get really overwhelmed, I lash out, and I don't mean to, but it's just like I'm trying to get control back, and if I can't get that control, I just start freaking out. And Josh saw that, and he saw that I was just losing my mind. I was stuck in a camper with 2 dogs every single day. You know, he would take me out on dates, he would take me out to the movies, and just at least try to do something with me, just so I didn't feel like I was stuck at the house and felt trapped, which I never did, because we still had 2 cars. Still had my Volkswagen Bug, and he still had his truck. So I was still able to go to places, but there would be times where I would get so sad and depressed not being at home that I would just stay at home and be a little hermit and not do anything, and just completely like shut down for like 2 or 3 days or whatever, and just stay in bed and not doing anything. And so after I felt like crap and I gained, like, I weighed 170 pounds at this point because I was just so sad and gaining a lot of weight. Josh's parents, like, anytime I came back home, everybody asked me if I was pregnant, and that made it even worse. It made me even more sad. And he was like, no, her hormones are just off, because when I went to the OBGYN, my hormones were crazy. Like, I don't think they put me on any meds, but they were doing a lot of tests on me. They tested me for PCOS and endometriosis and a lot of other things. It's pretty much, it has to do with your uterus. Endometriosis means that your uterine walls are growing, and they thought I had endometriosis because I didn't have a period in so long, and sometimes if that wall builds up, it will start growing and become endometriosis, I think. But luckily, did not have it. I did not have any PCOS. After they tested me on a bunch of stuff like that and tested my hormones, and they said my hormones were fine, they were like, well, here's an infertility clinic. And I was like, so that's it? Like, just immediately I'm infertile, or I'm going to an infertility clinic, or what? And I don't think it was that. I just think that the OBGYN that I went to in West Texas, they wouldn't, I guess is the correct, they wouldn't test any further, and they just sent me to somebody else that would do further testing on me. So just because they give you an option to go to an infertility clinic does not mean that you're infertile. Okay, it was starting to, there's like a timer and it tells me exactly when I'm about to go over, so I know when to like wrap it up and move on to the next story. But it does not always mean that you're just infertile. It just means that they're probably just sending you to somebody that can further test before, like, you know, they're gonna do some last testing on you before they declare you infertile. So I didn't go after that. Instead, I went to another doctor later on. I think it was here in town. Yes, it was a women's clinic that was like really close to where we live. It's actually a lot closer than the hospital that I go to now. My insurance was not covering a lot of the stuff. I went to that OBGYN and they actually helped. I think they helped boost it a lot more, because I found out that I am borderline diabetic, but I don't think I am. I just think I worked at a very carb-filled job, if that makes any sense. I was working at this meat shop, or I don't want to call it a meat shop. It's a specialty meats store is what I worked at. That's what they call it. And it's like a Cajun meat store. If you ever been to Baton Rouge and been to, I think it's called Bergeron's, but I call it Bergeron's. But it's the correct form, or the correct name is Bergeron's. And they have stuff like cracklins, and like they have pork cracklins, chicken cracklins, and then they have like these really high fat and also very high carb meals. There would be times where like they had shrimp etouffee, and they also had meat pies, and I love meat pies, especially their crawfish meat pies. And I was eating those once a day. Like before I left, if there was any extras that they hadn't sold or anything, I would be the first to take it home. And they were really high in sodium, but they were also really high in sugars, because like the pastry stuff that they used, high in sugar. But I was also, they let us have free Cokes, and if they didn't let us have free Cokes and they're watching this right now, don't blame me, because I was told the Cokes were for free. And so I would always like get a Coke every single shift, and that would be the only drink that I would drink sugary that week or that day, because I like my water, and I'm trying to drink a lot more water now than I used to back then. Back then I would have a Coke, and I'll probably drink a Coke for that nice little sugar boost. But then I was also probably drinking, I think I was drinking Diet Dr. Peppers a lot at that time. So even though I wasn't drinking any water, or maybe I was just only at night and only in the mornings, but Diet Cokes and sugary Cokes, they actually, there's like, I think the chemical in it, it actually holds the sugar in. I don't know scientifically if that's true or not, but apparently Diet Cokes can actually retain a lot of sugar. And with me drinking one Coke a day and a bunch of Diet Cokes, my glucose levels were off. And when that doctor told me to do a fasting and to get tested, because I think I got tested later that day because I told them that I had work in the mornings but I was available after, and they're like, oh yeah, sure, just don't eat or drink anything. And I said okay, and I fasted for that whole morning, and then up until the afternoon I went and got a blood test, and the doctor said that my levels were elevated. And instead of trying to get another test done or to recheck me, they just like, here's some metformin, which metformin is a pill that I think now has been recalled, and metformin drops your levels, so it helps you process through sugar, I guess. And so if I went overboard, like if I knew I had like 5 Cokes in that one day just because I was freaking addicted at one point, I would take metformin and my blood sugars would drop. It's kind of like the lazy way of not watching your sugars. I dropped a lot of weight. She also gave me water pills, so I dropped a lot of water weight also to help me lose weight. And I lost about 20 pounds really fast. And I was having irregular periods because my body was going through a whole bunch of changes and a whole bunch of meds. I'm surprised we didn't have a lot of miscarriages. Anytime that I took a pregnancy test was negative. I had a lot of people ask me that, like, do you know if you're even miscarrying, or maybe you're just not, maybe you need to take more blood tests and stuff. But even with this OBGYN, while I got a glucose test, she gave me a glucose test, but while she also gave me a glucose test, she checked if I was pregnant, and I wasn't pregnant. So anytime I got checked from the doctors, from peeing on a stick to anything, it was always negative on the pregnancy tests. Just always negative. And it was getting to where I hated taking pregnancy tests, because I was like, if I'm going to take a pregnancy test, I better be pregnant, because I'm sick and tired of looking at that negative symbol. So I then decided we're just not going back to the OBGYN. And my husband's like, no, you've at least got to finish what you started with them until they can get you settled out. So I was like, okay. So after I took that test, they wanted to see me again to go over my test results and to also put me on some meds and why they are putting me on meds. And they checked for my hormones. So not only did they check for blood or insulin or whatever, like, not only did they check my glucose levels, they checked if I was pregnant, and they also checked my hormone levels. And I actually had a very, very, very high level of testosterone. And I don't know how that happened, but my body just was not producing estrogen. And I could notice that I was getting like these weird like chin hairs and everything. And like, it's hard to explain. It was like I was like always angry, and when your estrogen levels are really high, you're always emotional. So I wasn't emotional anymore. I was just always angry. So they put me on progesterone, which is a hormone that they can give you, and it makes your estrogen levels a lot higher, and it makes you way emotional, especially if you've been having high levels of testosterone for a while. So yeah, I was very emotional. And at that point we lived with Josh's parents in like 2018. Yeah, we lived with Josh's parents, and even they were staying away from me, and I was just like, why isn't nobody talking to me? And they're like, because you're scary, like, you're really scary. And I was sorry, trying to get my hormones in check. But I think after that I started feeling good. I went on like a whole sugar-free diet, did a whole bunch of Diet Cokes, and I was doing gluten-free, but I realized just because it says gluten-free and it might seem healthy, it still has a whole bunch of sugar in it. Because these gluten-free cookies that I was eating, it was like 3 tiny little cookies, like tiny, like as big as my eyeball, tiny cookies, and 3 of them was 14 grams of sugar, and I was eating 6 of them a day, which, you know, spread out, it was like 28 grams of sugar. It really not that bad. I eat more today, or I eat more sugar. Okay, it cut off, but as I was saying is I eat more sugars than that right now, but I don't waste it on 6 cookies, is what I was trying to say. So, Kimber, stop licking Colt. Colt has a few bobos, and Kimber's been licking it, and it's driving me crazy all day. Sorry if that's a little crooked. My tripod is like weird, and my camera doesn't sit on the little twisting, it's weird. Anyways, after taking a break and trying to put all the footage that I just filmed onto my phone, I'm finally back trying to finish the rest of this video. After I got all that settled, there's really nothing else to do. So my OBGYN's like, well, right now you should be fine, because I took the progesterone pills, which gave me more estrogen, which leveled out my hormones and helped a lot. I had a few of y'all comment on a video that I posted a long time ago, which I'll have it posted down below, and it also will be, when I get all this series out, I'll post an actual playlist and put it as a pregnancy playlist, so y'all can see my whole journey, because I did do sorry, Kimber's like right here if you see her ears, but I did a whole entire video back when we lived in the camper, and I'm in the same chair, and I think I'm wearing the same outfit, but I talk about me going to the OBGYN in West Texas, and that was a long time ago. It was worse quality, but it was the quality that I had to, you know, at the time. But I still got like 50,000 views on that, and there's been a lot of updates and a lot of questions. I'm actually going to answer a few of those and kind of go over them just a little bit, just because I want to make sure that everybody that asked questions in the past, y'all don't re-ask them in the comments down below. you know, I'll tell y'all all the ones that I have had on there. Some of these comments are privated, so I'm not going to say the names to them, but just know if that you comment on the video and I answered. Someone asked if I needed a hysterectomy. No, I did not have a hysterectomy. Thank God. There's been a lot of like teenagers and underage people asking questions, and I'm hoping they're privated because I don't know the legal stuff on that to help teenagers with stuff like this and not being a professional and me being, you know, legal, and I don't know if they're underage or whatever, but they're like, just a teenager, didn't get my period for 5 months. Now my mom is very worried, and it's like, obviously, like, be comfortable telling your parents. I don't see why kids are so scared. I was never scared to tell my mom that I was sexually active or that I didn't have a period because I knew I wasn't pregnant, and I did my best not to get pregnant because I was on birth control, and I was just very, like, I didn't want to be 16 and pregnant. And not that there's anything wrong with it. I didn't want to deal with that in high school. It's a lot better. I don't look as pale. But yeah, don't be afraid to tell your parents. This person also put down, now I'm trying to go on a diet and that's my last hope. Please, any options? Diet does help a lot because that's why I got my glucose levels checked to make sure that I wasn't diabetic or anything, and they did classify me as borderline diabetic, but when I went to my second OBGYN, he disclassified that. He pretty much was like, no, I think your blood levels were running high that day, and if you would have kept up with your diet and exercise, you probably could have taken a second one if you were told. Like, doctors tell you to fast before your test, but they never tell you maybe try to diet and exercise before your test, because I was like still eating crappy and then fasting for 8 hours, and then like your body, if you're not working it out of your system or just watching your levels are going to stay very high. And with me drinking Diet Cokes and my levels staying high, like, it did not help whatsoever. So make sure you have a good diet and exercise, and if you feel like your glucose levels are really high, I would get a glucometer, because I got a glucometer, and once I got that, I showed my doctor, and my doctor now, and he sees that I'm regular, and he's like, you're fine. Obviously, you're watching your sugars like crazy. I try to keep my glucose levels around 80 or 90. Technically, I think a non-diabetic person keeps them under 140, but somebody who is diabetic, I think they say 120, or maybe that's the pregnancy one. Like, when you're pregnant, you keep them under 120. But I like to keep mine at under 100 if I can, because it's just, I don't know why, that makes me feel better mentally and physically. And I know if my blood sugar starts dropping, I get like one little thing of Coke and drink it. People asked, how are you, or are you bloated, and how is your stomach? I would say I wasn't bloated at all. I would get bloated if my hormones were off. So obviously when your hormones are off, you kind of bloat up a little bit, you swell up a little bit, your body just it's trying to regulate itself, and you will gain weight, because I gained literally 25 pounds, if not maybe more, because with Josh, when I first met Josh, I weighed like 115, and then I went up to 170, so that's like over 60 pounds that I gained. That's like 65 pounds, and it was crazy, and I never want to get that big again, even though I kind of have to now because I'm pregnant again and I'm already at 165, but I'm trying to only gain 25 pounds, which will be up to like 175. Yeah, because I was right at 150 before pregnancy, or before I got pregnant. I just dropped down to 150, and I was getting in like the 40s and focusing on trying to get to the 30s, but got pregnant, and so my doctor's like, don't try to do any kind of diet pills or diet thing. You can walk, you can, you know, do some, you know, active stuff, but do not work out hardcore like you were. So had to stop doing that, just took it easy, only did workouts that I knew I could do. But I did thin out during pregnancy because all the weight kind of shifts from everywhere to like your stomach. So yeah, again, you'll get bloated if your hormones are off. But a lot of people are like, I'm a virgin but haven't had a period and stuff. If you're not sexually active, like, stress or your diet is probably going to be the reason that you're not having regular periods. So if your periods aren't regular, just think about your diet, think about what you're doing. If you're underweight, again, you will lose your periods, especially if you're like way underweight. Make sure you're at a healthy weight, because that is key. I promise you, because when I weighed 170 and lost weight, that's when I started getting my periods back. And when I went back on, you know, eating unhealthy, which was like back to eating sugars, because I don't have a sugar problem. It's just my body doesn't process it. And I have to remember, I can't drink 3 or 4 Cokes in a day. And I know some people can do that and be fine. Me, I try to drink 1 soda, if not no sodas at all a day, and try to drink water. And I try to drink at least like 10 of these a day almost. And I even did a, if you look back in a few vlogs, I think it was like in 2020, during quarantine, I tried to drink 1 gallon a day. And I'll comment that down below. And that actually helped with my periods. And obviously I got pregnant during quarantine. So yeah. A lot of people are just agreeing that they're going through the same thing right now. A lot of people are feeling stressed because like they're doing sports and stuff. Sports, if you're too stressed out during sports, you can lose your period. Even though it's kind of controversial, I swear like eating too much steak can cause women to have testosterone levels really high. And I've read eggs can do that too. I've read a lot of things, but yeah, there's actual like 8 testosterone boost foods, and it's like tuna, eggs, yolk, and more. So it's a lot of meat and stuff. It says not only do some cuts have more fat than poultry, but eating too much is linked to certain cancers such as colon cancer. Some cuts of beef have nutrients that can boost testosterone. Beef liver is an exceptional source of vitamin D, while ground beef and chuck roast contain zinc. So there's a lot of like meats that can mess a lot of things up. So with that being said, I actually went on a vegan plant-based diet. So I did not want to go full straight vegan. There was still times where I craved a muffin, or not a muffin, bacon. Right now I'm craving a muffin though. But there was times where I craved bacon, and I still love, like, anytime I can go to Burger King and get a double cheese croissant or a double sausage and cheese croissant, I will get that, but minus the egg, because that egg is gross. My phone's about to die. Oh my goodness, can we get a break? Okay, so now we're a little too, ooh, this tripod is, oh. Anyways, back to what I was saying, trying to wrap this up because I have 5 other videos I need to do and I'm already running out of batteries. But anyways, went on a full vegan plant-based diet, and I feel like this is when everything started getting more regular, because with plants and stuff you're getting vitamins, nutrients, things that are not hormones, and you're not getting things that are like, you know, hormone injected. There's a lot, like you have chickens that are injected with hormones. Somebody commented on the video that turmeric can also help with fertility, or it helps regulate your period somehow. I don't know how, maybe it's like a blood flow type thing, but I was eating a lot of turmeric, especially with like all my vegan stuff. Turmeric helps add color and adds like this nice little taste to it. So if you ever want to have like vegan scrambled eggs, put turmeric in it and it tastes good, along with cumin, and it tastes better, and it's just really good. Really good. Sorry, Kimber's distracting me. Stop distracting me. Couldn't go to the bars because all the bars were closed because of quarantine. So I started buying alcohol from the thrift store and bringing it home. And it's one thing when you're paying $8 per shot, but when you can get a whole thing for 40 bucks and make it so much more cheaper than going out and drinking, you tend to drink a little bit more. So I was not drinking, that makes me sound like an alcoholic, but it was enough to where like me and my husband, we would have our little sexy nights. And I think one of those nights I just got so drunk and Josh was able to relax, I was able to relax, and we got pregnant. But I hope all of this helps, and if there's anything, any comments or questions, comment down below and I'll probably do a pregnancy Q&A. And if y'all have any like, you know, pregnancy questions or pregnancy journey questions, please let me know. Again, I did not do IVF or anything like that. I finally, like me and my husband, were just finally able to, one, regulate my body, and two, just have it finally happen, because it takes a lot of patience and time. So if you've been trying for more than 4 years or more than 5 years, one, don't let the comments get to you. I'm gonna make a video on that. Don't let any other comments get to you. Don't let anything that anybody says to you get to you. Everybody is on their journey, but I always hated the saying when somebody says it will happen when it happens. But at the same time, you have to take the measures to help yourself get pregnant, if that makes any sense. Because you can prevent yourself becoming infertile. There are actually medications and prescriptions that doctors can give to you to make you fertile again, or to make you more fertile. And there's some medications that will like instantly get you pregnant, because the progesterone, even though it helped me get estrogen, it was one of those pills, on the label it had a warning, can get pregnant. Like helps you get pregnant, makes you pregnant pretty much. And there's a bunch of vitamins you can help. Folic acid helps a lot. I was eating a lot of plant-based stuff, so all that folic acid that I was eating almost every single day, because I was making smoothies, like there was like 2-3 weeks I was drinking smoothies day in and day out. And they had a lot of folic acid in them because I had a bunch of greens and vegetables and stuff in them, and I feel like that helped a ton. So just do everything you can to get pregnant. If you are overweight, don't try to lose so much weight to where you become underweight, because that will obviously won't help. And if you're underweight, try to just eat more carbs, because your body needs a lot of carbs to build a human. I hope y'all enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, because if we get to 1,000, y'all can be notified. Make sure you check out the other videos. I will have a playlist down below, and it's gonna be a pregnancy playlist. So I hope y'all enjoy, and either happy pregnancy or hope you get pregnant soon.